him the link. So the non-dual teaching is quite simple because it really refers to reality, to what we truly are, which is not complicated. It's clarity itself. We are the reality of our experience. We are that we're looking for. Somehow the game that consciousness is playing is the game of forgetting itself. It identifies with a form, with a body-mind. It identifies with gender. It identifies with nationality. It identifies with religion. It identifies with beliefs, thoughts, memories. And in identifying with any phenomenal form, the game that is played is that of forgetfulness. We forget what we are by identifying with the body-mind. And in this conversation, what we refer to as satsang, it is a remembrance, a recollection, an invitation to recollect and to recognize what we truly are. That we are the aware presence that, although is not perceived, although is not a phenomenal event, is the knower and the knowingness of all phenomenal events. Phenomenal events come and go, but the knowingness of what I am, the I am and the knowingness of I am, does not come and go. The unhappiness that we experience in life, which I refer to as the waking dream and as well as the night dream, the unhappiness that we experience is due to this sense of separation that we sense in our body-mind, that is accompanied with a perceiving an external world where our happiness resides, perceiving experiences that promise to deliver our happiness. And so our unhappiness is basically a seeking. It's a thinking and sensing process whereby thoughts arise that basically tells you that your happiness is in a relationship or is in a situation or is in an experience. And the bodily sensation of separation, of containment, that is calling to be freed, calling to be liberated. That is what unhappiness is. So it's mentation and sensation. Now, when we rely on our conditioning to bring us to happiness, in other words, to resolve the seeming problem of unhappiness, we look out into the world for help. We look out for people to follow, organizations to join, situations to unfold for us. But that is the incorrect direction. That direction does not deliver the happiness that our heart seeks. It is only upon coming to a certain degree of stillness that the inherent happiness that we are starts to be revealed. Because the happiness that we seek is what we are. So in moving away, in pursuing, in seeking, we do not come upon what is. We still imagine a distant land where the hidden treasure is, while the hidden treasure is hidden in plain sight as what I am. So I invite you to explore during this hour or hour and 15 minutes whatever questions you may have, whatever situations that are arising for you that you would like to contemplate together. So I welcome your questions.
Hi Maggie, everyone.
Hello, hello, Teresa.
Hello. Beautiful talk. Wonderful. Thank you. It resonates. It resonates deeply. And then there's a voice saying, how come this is not lived all the time or most of the time? It just seems, Maggie, like this conditioned suffering, it wants to suffer. And there was an incident that happened a couple of months ago where this body got injured, and it still hurts a lot, and it seemed to go along with situation, an emotional situation. I won't go into the details. I'm wondering about how to know the difference between when to feel the vasanas and when they're just smoke, trying to just get the attention to stay off of the truth of who we are. And what it really takes. Of course, it takes, well, it's just, yes, if you could talk on it, please.
Yeah. So nobody can bring clarity to you, Teresa, about what you really want, what you cherish, except yourself. You have to come to clarity about what you cherish. There are a lot of conditions and habits that call us to carry the past along, to stay in our old hurts, in our remembrances, in our thinking about what has happened and why did it happen and how come it happened and why did such and such a person act that way towards me, and so on. And this habit of remaining in the memory has a me, an impression of a me and another. And there is a story around the me and the other, or the me and the better me or the worse me. Me now, me in the past, me 10 years ago. And if you notice, when the mind repeats these stories, these memories, there is also a sensory state. We feel something. And at the feeling level, there is a habit. There is a habitual tendency at the feeling level. It's a recognized, it's a known feeling. Even an unhappy bodily sensation, meaning a contraction that brings along more spinning and tightness at the body-mind level. Even that can be attractive in some strange way, like a nicotine addiction or food addiction or other forms of addictions that are unhappy. They are not the freedom, they are not the beauty, they're not the love. And yet we notice that the body-mind goes in that direction over and over. But at some point, when you are seriously contemplating the truth, you're seriously contemplating the self, you no longer are interested in repeating. You're no longer interested in remaining in the known. You are open and willing to be in your nakedness, to be in the unknowing, to be in the complete innocence, in the complete vulnerability. In the complete presence. So you start to recognize that consciousness is freshness, expresses itself in complete freedom, in complete creativity, and it's in its complete glory, moment by moment. And so you open yourself to the unknown and to the creativity that arises out of the unknown being the self, being consciousness, that the mind cannot know. So you open yourself to a fresh revelation moment by moment, so that you are no longer carrying any past history or any past stories. You know, many people, maybe majority of the people, I don't know, live happy Saturday and Sunday, and they're unhappy Monday to Friday. Well, Friday afternoon they're happy because they're coming to the end of their work week. It's very miserable. There is no freshness, the freshness of presence in a mind that carries the past. So there is an attachment to some sensation and to some me image, a me story. That attachment is your very limiting, is the limiting, or the attachments are the limiting aspects. The impression of limitation and angst that you experience is the result of this holding on. So you can let go, because consciousness does not hold on. It has not a grasping, it has no grasping quality to it, because consciousness is the reality, the one reality. Everything is it. So why should it grasp on? Like a mother loves all her children equally. Like parents love all their children equally. Or like a good politician loves, well, a good politician, that's an oxymoron, but like, okay, I take that back. Let me just stay with just the parent, that mother like loving her children equally, you see? So that is how consciousness is. Does not pick and choose, does not look back in the history and says, oh, this and me, and oh, they love me, I didn't love me, I this and that, oh, I should love this, I should do that, why did it? No. You remain in your freshness. Whatever is arising as a past memory and as past sensation, well, a sensation that you recognize, and past meaning it's always present, but you recognize it, meaning you visit it again, is arising not for you to do some psychoanalytic study of it, but to just stay out of its way, meaning do not touch it, with no personal intention, no intention to fix it, to resolve it, to be free of it, no intention, absolutely no intention. Can you be absolutely with no personal intention?
Yes.
You see, love has no intention. It is its own intention. It is its own wholeness, fullness, completeness. There is no personal intention in consciousness. And you are consciousness. You are this borderless aware presence. So your sadhana, your work, your contemplation is whenever there is a past arising that has a psychological dimension to it, that has a me dimension to it, the feelings and emotions, do not move. Be completely still. Even if they completely consume you, you are completely motionless. Move. You don't move in order to. There is no in order to. No personal intention. You are a wholeness of being. Allow it to be. Allow the wholeness that you are to express itself. It is peace, stillness, happiness, well-being, beauty, love that has no personal source.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you, Magdi. Thank you. I also love what you said earlier about the importance of stillness. So same, you're talking about it here. Just setting aside time just to be. Just to be.
Yes, you may find it helpful. I don't know. It depends on the various circumstances and situations to take some time to just be quiet and still throughout the day, whichever way it speaks to you. But I would remind you that you are the stillness. What you are is the stillness, is the peace, is the beauty, is the love, is the happiness, is the freedom. Borderless freedom, universal freedom. But go with what your heart speaks, whatever draws you, whatever feels sweet and talks to you at the heart level. You can follow that.
Yes. Yes, beautiful.
Okay. Thank you for your question. Okay.
Thank you.
So if there are any questions. Hello, Ananda. So, Ananda, you write, perhaps this is like a synesthesia. What is a synesthesia?
That's where two senses get mixed up. You think that you're seeing a color. I mean, you're seeing a sound or hearing a sight.
Okay. So perhaps this is like a synesthesia, but I seem to be perceiving myself. To be stabilized in self-knowledge must be rather unusual to the me impression way of perceiving. Yes. To be stabilized in self-knowledge is me impression free. The me impression has various dimensions. At the perceptual level, there is a perceived external world that that justifies the me impression, because a perceived external world, the materiality, the material view,
Mm-hmm.
refers to a separate viewer. So at the perceptual level, there is an external world perceived, and there is an inside self that is perceiving. So in a way, the perception reinforces the me impression.
Mm-hmm.
At the sensation level, there is a sense of opacity and limitation, like a more a higher energetic focus, a denser energetic focus around the body, and that diminishes, that is limited to a certain field. This is so oftentimes from the me impression, the body is experienced as having a mass and a weight, as if, and having a certain it's envelope. It's enveloped, and at the meditation level, we say, well, it's the skin. I'm inside my skin, or inside my skull, or inside my whatever. Well, there is an envelope, and at the mental level, at the meditation level, there is the impression that I meaning this body, mind, brain, maybe this body, somehow the body mind is thinking the thoughts. So from the me impression, all our experiences reinforce and justify the me impression that yes, I am this body mind. So in a way, ignorance is its own proof. Once there is ignorance, when you put on those purple glasses, then yes, the trees are purple. Everything that you perceive reinforces the dualistic model. Now, from the non-dualistic perspective, I is consciousness, what perceives, what knows all perceptions, is not known, is perceives all perceptions, but is not perceived. And so from that model, the world that consciousness is perceiving, it depends, how in your question you say to be stabilized. Okay, when you are stabilized in self-knowledge, then I'm just going to speak to that. And then when you are stabilized in self-knowledge, then you as consciousness are the knower of the world body mind, but also the world body mind is intimately the entire experience, you want to call it, is consciousness. So consciousness never leaves itself. It's never perceiving anything but itself. It's sensing itself. It's feeling itself. It's thinking itself, and it's so intimately itself that it is the end of the mind. The mind dissolves in consciousness, and there is no longer a leaving. There is no longer any sense of separation, and therefore, even the sense of oneness is not there. It is the natural state. I think they refer sometimes in some of the Buddhist scriptures to to the stages about, I perceive mountains and rivers, and now I know I am consciousness, and I perceive consciousness, and now I'm back to I perceive mountains and rivers. The final stage of perceiving mountain and rivers is really not a perceiving mountains and rivers as such. Consciousness never leaves itself and never perceives anything. So you may ask, well, then do you walk into the doors? You walk into the trees? Do you drive your neighbor's car? No. The dream goes on, but it's just a sweet, flowing, happy dream in which consciousness never leaves itself. It is completely free of any sense of separation and therefore of any angst. The end result of the entire contemplation, Ananda, is peace and happiness. Is who cares about the greatest discourse about non-duality and the greatest non-duality models? It's really about, complete freedom, complete freedom and peace and happiness. All what we know and desire and experience and seek in the world, in our dreams, in everything that we do, is peace and happiness. But you say about I seem to be perceiving myself. It depends how you mean that. So there is a perceiving oneself in which the perceiver and the perceived are absent, and you could say there is perceiving, but it's a perceiverless, and it's an absence of perceiver and perceived. If that is what you refer by perceiving myself, another way of saying it, that I seem to be perceiving myself, would be I am happy.
Not conflicted with the separation and the issues involved with it.
Yes, I am at peace and happiness. And so that's, I think, a better way of saying I seem to be perceiving myself.
I like that. Great.
Because the final metaphysical understanding, which of course is not at the mind level, is there is one reality. I am this one reality, and everything is this one reality. But it's a metaphysical revelation, which is, I think, is best worded as peace and happiness. Freedom, peace and happiness, love, beauty, intelligence, wisdom.
Now, something that I've been puzzling over, and we talked about it a little bit recently, but in a dream, in my dream at night, sometimes I've experienced a wise figure, like a sage, in the dream, who's looking at me, and I'm seeing more. I'm seeing more clarity from this image that supposedly in the dream I'm perceiving another, and yet the other is expressing more awareness than myself. In other words, I feel that I'm in the presence of the divine in the dream, and yet my character in the dream, I don't know what to say about this. So and that relates to my question of, is it possible that because everything is consciousness, even in the dream, the characters looking at each other are looking with eyes of consciousness at each other, like it's all one big smorgasbord, sort of.
Yes, yes. In the dream, consciousness is dreaming the dream, is dreaming the characters, is dreaming is perceiving the dream characters, and is also dreaming the perceptions of the dream characters. It is all dream of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But I failed to get your question about a sage that is looking at in your dream. So in the dream,
suddenly there's almost like a samadhi-ish feeling, just an incredible feeling, and the wisdom looking directly at me is almost from another dimension. Mm-hmm. So things are very interesting in that point.
Okay, so there is no sage.
Mm. Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
When we use the word sage, we refer to consciousness. So consciousness is sagehood.
Mm-hmm.
And the impression of sages and non-sages is being in the dream, being in the dream, and still in the dualistic field of the dream. As you're moving along in your dream, as you're dreaming further on, then what is revealed to you is that it's all consciousness. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the sage is consciousness. So your entire dream is sagehood, and in this dream, you may be dreaming an Ananda character, a separate character that has as if like a separate consciousness, like sort of a limited consciousness to that character. And when there is this quality in the dream, there is a certain angst and unhappiness around that aspect of the dream. Right. So it seems as if in your dream there is that aspect of a limited entity, and at the same time there is the vastness of consciousness, which you refer to as the sage, which is the field. So yes, the all impressions, even the impressions of angst or thoughts of me or concerns about what's happening to me, all of these, including ignorance and the impressions of separation, arise in the openness of presence, arise borderlessly. So the impression of border arises borderlessly. In other words, when we draw a frontier around the United States, we say, this is the frontier of the United States, and this is, Canada is there, and Mexico is there. There is no real frontier. There's no. It's a conceptual frontier. Right. It's still one land. I mean, you're walking, and now you're in Canada, and the next step you're in the United States or whatever. You see, so this impression of limitation arises. This impression of a frontier, of a border, of a country, arises in the openness of space, the openness of consciousness. Mm-hmm. And that's an important recognition that those frontiers are not real frontiers. And when we hold on to these frontiers, there is happiness and unhappiness. For example, if we value employment, okay, in Mexico we are unhappy because we have less employment, and in some parts of the United States we are happy because we have more employment. It only results in the roller coaster of happiness and unhappiness, a division, the division between good and bad, which is a fictitious division. But although it is a fictitious division, it requires a higher understanding to free yourself from the angst of this illusion.
Right.
And so we come to this higher understanding, but then it's important that we do not forget this higher understanding, and for us to live this higher understanding and honor this higher understanding via our correct thinking, meaning thinking that I am consciousness and not I am an American or whatever. The correct perception, perceiving the world as frontierless world, and the right action, acting as a universal citizen rather than an American or a Canadian or a French or whatever.
Yeah, it's.
So if you can, if it's available to you, in your dream, if it is available to you, and you notice the sage, and you notice the sage looking at you, turn your attention to you, not to the sage. Turn your attention to you, and release the borders, or basically just by turning your attention to you, ask yourself, where are those borders? Where are those borders? What are they? What are they made of? What is their reality? You see? So you can free yourself from the imaginary shackles.
Yes, I see. It's basically having the capacity to step out of that self-reinforcing thing you were talking about with Teresa, the self-reinforcing.
Yes.
Like this.
The patterns, right? Yes.
Step out and then see the borderlessness and.
Yes, and the way you step out, the way you step out is by seeing that there actually are no borders. But if you continue to drag along with you your stories, your me stories, every me story is some sort of border. There is a sense of limitation around me stories, because the core character is a me that is limited. It's a limited body-mind impression, right?
Yes. Yes. I'm picturing a screenwriter. This is a story like a play. The screenwriter starts writing the story, gets very caught up in it, and becomes anxious, and
identifies with the good guy and the bad guy.
Yeah, the whole thing.
That's what makes good storytellers. They love their characters. They identify with their characters, but then at the end of having worked for 2 weeks on the book, they put it down and they have a cup of chai, and they they don't live their whole life as this.
Right, and then hopefully it's accepted and they get the check.
Yes. Right.
Anyway,
I mean,
thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean,
great clarification.
Yeah. I mean, art and creativity is about love. It's love. It is. It's the passion and the love of the artist, of the creator, the musician, the woodworker. You feel it. I mean, you see like a cup. Like there, I was looking at a cup, and it is so well designed. It's just aesthetically, it fits. It's the right weight. It holds good, and it's. So it's just a freaking cup, but you look at it and you see the genius and the love and the passion that's behind it. You see, and that's what we love. It's not the cup. It's not the cup. It's that the recognition of the love and of the beauty and of the creativity and of the love that's behind all these beautiful
I found that I've gone away from entertainments altogether because I found they just disturb me, almost like the news. But maybe it's a higher form of contemplation. Maybe I can watch drama again and not be
well,
negatively impacted.
There are good theater, and there is trashy theater, and so it's a matter of whether it has drama or not drama, and it doesn't matter.
Yes.
That it's the quality of where it takes you. What basically, it takes you to love and beauty and to a grander to the grander place of so it doesn't matter if it's drama or tragic comedy or whatever, it's this, the love that's behind it, the script and the genius in the composition and in the performance.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Yes. Where is it pointing? Yes. Or what is it expressing? Great.
Yeah. It's always it always has an expression that is beyond the mind. That's where we know, beyond the mind.
Great.
Thank you for your question, Ananda. Good to see you.
Thank you.
So if there are any other questions.
Magdi?
Yes, Ananda.
If anyone else wants to speak up, I certainly don't want to hog the time, but I do have another question. Okay. As you know, I'm going to meet Rupert Spira. Is that how you pronounce that, Spira?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
And he's an unusual character. His way of presentation is unusual, very precise, and it's almost like a mathematics professor or something to me. I love following his meditation. It takes things to a very clear place. I'm just wondering. It's kind of an amorphous question in a sense, but what if you can see what would be the best sort of approach to getting the most from him? I'm just thinking, I can say hello, I'm Ananda, and now I'm going to listen to you. But is there any other sort of advice how to approach that, his type of presentation, his type of
Yes.
contemplation.
So approach him not as Ananda.
Yes. Yes.
Approach everything not as Ananda.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are approaching not as Ananda, you will find that there is not one step that needs to be taken, because all the steps are taken in the non-Ananda approach.
Mm-hmm.
So we are the listening space. We are the effortless, borderless listening space. We are the loving space. It's inherently it is love. Inherently it is intelligence. Inherently it is presence. Inherently it is listening. And inherently it is non-dual.
Mm-hmm.
So it listens to the speaking. It listens to speaking. The speaking is not here or there. It's a listening space that is dimensionless. Yeah, it's dimensionless. So it's like what Francis in the past talked about it, like a circle. It's like a circle with an infinite radius and no center. So what is there to approach? What are you approaching? What are you approaching? What is it that is approaching what? In the absence of this thought of A approaching B, in the absence of this thought, like this thought, let's say, thins out, it thins out. What is approaching what? So invite these thoughts to give them the infinite space. Invite them. They're already invited. Recognize that they're invited to the infinity of consciousness, so that they can just expand and relax and dissolve in the infinity of presence. The same thing with feelings. Recognize that they're invited to the borderless presence, borderless awareness. And then you can ask yourself, who is feeling what? If you bring into your contemplation your assumptions without challenging them, then the question would arise, oh, how do I approach Rupert? because you're bringing into your question an impression of an I, and of therefore a him, of time and space. So bring your contemplation with you wherever you go, and you will find that you don't go anywhere, or you may find that you will go everywhere without ever taking a step.
Right.
Let's say hello to Rupert from me. Tell him, Magdi says hello.
Yes, thank you. Great. That was a great answer. Thank you. Now I'll just go for the fun of it.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. Beautiful. It's always when we get together around our love for truth, our sharing for truth, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Like, look at us here. We come together here every week. It's very beautiful. And yes, and there is an enjoyment. There is a happiness and a sweetness. And like when we get together with friends who have a certain resonance with our interest, which is our love for truth. It's very beautiful. We get together, we talk, we eat, we go for a walk, whatever we do. There is that quality that's shared, So the Sangha, is one of the aspects of they speak of the Buddha, the teacher, the Dharma, the teaching, and the Sangha is the community of truth lovers. These three aspects, the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, are intricate part of the celebration of the love.
Right. As long as there's any kind of a human perspective appearing, that's a nice picture.
Yes. It's a beautiful dream. It's very beautiful, and every moment, it's never not so. Every moment, consciousness is expressing itself in its full glory as this. This is an expression of the glory of the self. It's like a great opera singer, this singing of the opera is expressing the beauty, the love, and the talent and the creativity of the artist. So consciousness is eternally expressing itself in its full glory, in full radiance, as this. As all of this, as this perception, as Ananda, as Magdi, as all our friends here, as these perceptions, these sensations, all consciousness at its best.
I just thought the term came to me, for those who have eyes to see, and then it occurs to me a better thing is for the eyes that see, or for the seeing.
For the what? No, I didn't hear that. For the last thing I didn't hear.
Instead of saying for those who have eyes to see, that still leaves intact the idea of seekers and everything. It's more like for the seeing, for the consciousness itself, for the joy of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Well, thank you for your question, Ananda.
I'm not sure if this is how I get to ask a question.
Yes, who is talking?
This is Marjorie.
Oh, hello, Marjorie. Yes, you are asking a question, and I'm hearing you. Yes, hello, Marjorie.
Am I audible?
Yes, very audible. I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Good. I have a question about relating to people who don't really seem to have any particular interest in what touches my heart the most deeply,
Mm-hmm.
and whether they be just regular people in my life who I run into here and there, or family members, or even old friends,
Mm-hmm.
and they start telling me the drama of their lives, and I'm not really that interested in the drama of their lives,
Mm-hmm.
and yet there's love also.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I sometimes feel kind of awkward in those kinds of situations, how to, sometimes it comes totally naturally if I don't even think about it, but then I start thinking about it, and
Mm-hmm.
it becomes problematic. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have any suggestions?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what you spoke is very beautiful. You know, you said that there is love, and yet you said, and yet there is love, and yes, that's very beautiful, Marjorie, because there is love. You know, it is all love. So you can love them, but you don't have to love the ignorance in them, meaning the ignorance that they're expressing now. Of course, ignorance is not personal. It's an impression, the impression of personhood that is ignorance. So it is not that they are ignorant and I am not. It is more that, okay, this is how ignorance, you know, uh, manifests itself. It repeats this me and you stories. It loves to show off me as a person, or how great, how smart I am, and so on. And we recognize that. We recognize that when once we are in the contemplation of truth, like you are, you recognize that, and you recognize uh, the unhappiness that's the lack of sweetness and beauty and love, you know, that's being uh, shared. Um, but as you know, Marjorie, you can't uh, you can't share when there isn't a listening. So of course, the listening has to be across the board. So there is a listening space that you are, but there also has to be a certain openness in the other, so-called other, that you can sense, or you can sometimes you know, you may sense there is an openness, and you start to share, and then you notice that there isn't an openness, and then you can sense that as well. And you can, so you can share when you sense that there is an openness. But if there isn't, and then there is really nothing to share. There's just being smart about how long and how deeply you want to be involved in such conversations, or such activities, whatever. Uh, uh, Whatever situations you are speaking about. And so listening to how it's feeling for you when it gets feeling uh, uh, unhappy, and you know, repetitive, and you can sense like it's just building up. Then you can experiment. You can experiment with just walking away, if there is a possibility of walking away, walking to another room, or of uh, not joining. You're not saying yes to these invitations next time. Sometimes there's no way out. You know, you're like, it's. I've noticed often about myself that I pick up on these sorts of energies, and if I don't leave soon, I start living in a way the mass hysteria. but even amplified. It's even amplified. often Dara comes and rescues me, says, like, sort of senses that I. But so it's important that you recognize that it's all. There's nothing for you to fix. It's not. You're not there to fix anything. But of course, at the same time, you would be amazed. There would be opportunities where, because you're a truth lover, in some cases, there is the other senses something about being in your presence, and you can sense that in those cases that there is some openness. And then it's the relationship may take a different direction. But there is no sense of being unhappy about unhappiness.
Yeah.
Just
I
let
have
it,
one
let it,
friend,
let.
if I don't respond when she calls and I don't respond to all her, this happened and that happened, says, you're not interested, are you?
Yeah.
She gets it real quick, but
Yeah.
other people go on and on.
Well,
And I don't really know. Sometimes I feel like, why am I friends with this person?
Good question.
And it is history, because I've known them for 20 years or something like that.
Yes.
And
The friendship, changes. So, when you were younger, or maybe you were years back, you had different circumstances, different situation, and then things change. And a relationship is like a friendship. Would say hi, you chit chat for a few minutes, and in time you will find that effortlessly, it's not out of any personal choice. You will find that your quotes unquote friendship are around the sangha, around the community of friends who have a common, who share that love for truth. Sometimes we try to fill a certain emptiness with a friendship. We try to fill a void with something, with some activity, and a friendship, or doing something with somebody is maybe an attempt to sort of just doing something. But you will find in time that there isn't happiness there. Even when you're trying to plug in an emptiness with some sort of relationship, there isn't a joy. It doesn't deliver the goods. It doesn't deliver what you're looking for. So old habits will they start to fall away. They start to fall off, to fall away. And there's a greater beauty and greater joy that benefits everybody, including your old friends. It's because consciousness is limitless, you see. So when we're no longer feeding some old habits or maintaining old habits, it's like we're contributing to the stream of joy and happiness. Or another way of putting it is that we're not contributing to the stream of sorrow, you see. By not contributing to the stream of sorrow, indirectly, we are celebrating the love, the beauty, the happiness, the freedom, the joy.
yeah. Yeah, most of the time, excuse me, these people are people who reach out to me, and I don't feel a need for it myself, but I also feel like I don't want to push them away or.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Yeah, if they're reaching out to you and you are not relating with them from ignorance, you're relating as this listening space, this loving listening space, then it's very beautiful. There is something, even though there may not be a recognition of what was shared, there is something that is shared. Whenever we are in presence, and because presence is impersonal, there is a sharing at the heart level, at a deep level, even though the mind may not recognize it.
yeah, yeah, it can can certainly feel that, and I guess that's why I don't reject these friendships,
Yes, I
because it does
understand.
feel like there's a basic love underneath.
I understand. Yes, yes. As long as it doesn't draw you into unhappiness, as long as it doesn't draw
Yeah,
you into any pattern.
yeah, yeah. I can see that it might have a tendency to do that sometimes, where I would either get impatient or forget what's what and who's who.
Well, I mean, if somebody is chewing your ears with their blah 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 stories, I could see myself getting impatient. So it's not so much about getting impatient, because there may be an impatient that is that's justified.
Uh,
Uh, so you have to discern between a certain sense of what is this about? When is this going to end? Impatience or whatever that has a good basis for it, and being drawn into the person to person story relationship. See?
right, right, yeah, yeah. Thank you. That's very helpful.
Okay, Marjorie. Okay, nice talking to you. Nice to meet you. Also beautiful. Thank
Yeah, it's been nice being with you, even if I haven't spoken before.
you. Yes, I know. It's very beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, it's 4:15, so I want to thank you all for your beautiful company and your presence, and we'll see you again soon. Be well.